Hi everyone, I'm excited to welcome our guest Nirupa Shankar for our ongoing series on reimagining disruption and its impact on business and culture during uncertain times. Nirupa is the executive director of Brigade Group, though she doesn't need too much of an introduction, but she has spent the last 11 years at Brigade Group, one of the India's top 10 developers. She oversees the company's hotel, office, and retail portfolios. Uh, she has the serial entrepreneur bug in her and has successfully conceptualized multiple award-winning F&B outlets. She set up Asia's first real estate accelerator called REAP, Brigade Real Estate Accelerator Program, an initiative to mentor high-tech startups in real estate in 2016. She launched Brigade's flexible workspace brand called Buzzworks last year. She has been identified as one of CNBC's Young Turks and has previously won prestigious Women of the Year awards many times. She's a mother of two young daughters and passionate about fitness and writing. Her articles are regularly published. A very, very warm welcome to you, Nirupa, and thank you for joining us for the dialogue today.
Thanks for having me, Puja.
Thank you so much. You were, active in our last conclave, and this year we are trying to do this a bit differently. My first question to you, Nirupa, considering the times that we are in, how has COVID-19 crisis impacted the corporate venturing space in India? Are you seeing the emergence of some new opportunities that's going to shape the future?
Yeah, so it's been quite exciting. Apart from the initial lockdown where we were all just grappling with what to do, once the economy started opening up and we had to figure out how to get our businesses back on track, it's just been very interesting to see the kind of new technologies that have come up. And companies are realizing more so now than ever before, that they need to invest in technology to further their business, to ensure that they're more efficient, to see if they can optimize their costs. So it's been quite interesting to see the focus on technology now, more so than pre-COVID. In fact, I thought that people's interest in evaluating new startups would actually reduce, but in fact, it's quite the opposite. Interesting to let you know that just 6 of our 30 startups that we've mentored over the last 3 years raised funds during this lockdown period, just in the last few months. So it just goes to show how much of traction there is in the space. Corporate venturing, I think a lot of corporates are more interested now in technology, as I mentioned, because of the opportunities they throw up. What I've been seeing is, apart from the usual sanitization technologies that have come up, or there's a lot of new technology in terms of UV sanitization. For our retail malls, for instance, we've used hand sanit, like not hand, but UV, the escalator rail sanitizer. So it sanitizes the escalator rails as it goes up. So there's no impact of multiple people touching the same spot. There's a lot of investment going into improving our HVAC systems, that is our heat AC ventilation systems, because I guess because of the filtration process, and people are worried there's some fear psychosis of the virus spreading through the ventilation system. So there's a lot of investment on how to improve the air ventilation systems in malls and hotels and office buildings. There's a lot of focus on contactless technology. So when you walk into a hotel, before, what was a nice to have, like a mobile check-in, was just a nice to have thing to talk about, like, oh, we have this mobile technology, you can check in through your mobile if you want to. Now it becomes a must-have. Everything has to be contactless. Your transactions, how you check in, how you check out, going to your floor in the hotel, so you don't have to touch the elevator buttons anymore. It's all through your mobile phone, scanning a QR code. So those are the kind of new technologies we're seeing. And because of the work from home environment, we're seeing a lot of AI tech in terms of, say, legal, accounting, HR. These are some of the functions where you're seeing AI technology being used in these avenues. So less people and more technology to maybe churn out agreements, or maybe create your financial statements, or do your payroll and things like that.
Yeah, very interesting that, I think this period has also thrown up a different set of challenges and opportunities. And And as you rightly mentioned, that digital has become a lot more important today and very critical. But companies are also, especially large organizations, are naturally reallocating resources to core businesses and focusing on efficiency rather than exploration. Uh,
Yeah.
and I don't know, your perspectives, that how can companies now commit to innovation, especially during this crisis, and what is Brigade Group doing differently?
So you're absolutely right. I think today the need of the hour is survival, right? Like if you had $100 to spend, you want to spend it on your business and trying to grow that business or keep your business afloat rather than saying, hey, let's evaluate this new technology. 100% you're absolutely right. But quite to the contrary, like for us, I feel that for Brigade, for instance, one of our core values is innovation. We have our core values, which is QC first, that is customer centricity and quality first, right? QC, so quality and customer centricity first. And first stands for fairness, innovation, responsible socially, and trustworthiness. So innovation has always been core to us, and it is in your most challenging times that sometimes you have to stick to your core values. You know, you have to, that your core values have to remain in the good times and in the bad times. You can't avoid certain things at certain points in time. So because of that, you know, we have, while innovation, when we set up the REAP accelerator, for us, it's kind of like our R&D center. It's kind of how we keep our ears to the ground to see what new technologies are coming into the space. And that's something that has to be there, whether, like I said, in good times or in bad. You can't just say, okay, the bad times, I won't keep my ear to the ground and I won't keep abreast of the new technologies. That doesn't make any sense. So it is an expense, but it is, I feel, a necessary expense for us because of who we are and what we do. And it is, like I said, for us, even now, even more so is when we have to look and see how we can adopt technology to make ourselves more efficient. So we have this, we have a separate LLP kind of a structure called Brigade Innovations LLP, which is how we set up REAP. And we've been continuing what we've been doing for the last 3 years. We, in fact, this coming Monday is when we launch our 8th cohort, our 8th batch of startups. So we've already finished mentoring 33 startups, and now 7 more will join the batch. So we'll be at 40 by the end of this year. And that's exciting, and I'm super excited about the new startups that are coming in, and I think all of them can be used in our business and all of them can help us become more efficient. So I think they're equally as important, and I think those keeping your business afloat and innovation cannot be looked at separately. It has to go hand in hand, and those two things have to happen in parallel. And the best way to do it, I feel, is to just keep 2 separate teams, you know, so that your operations team is not getting hassled by innovation initiatives, and your innovations team is not being dragged down by operational firefighting.
That's a very good point. I think building the right governance and keeping the focus. And what I hear you is that innovation is a core value for your group. So it's not going to be a trade-off between operation survival and innovation, because innovation for your group is key to survival. And you've sort of really focused a lot on innovation through startups. And I wanted to just bring a little internal view when it comes to employees and people. And that's where the space of entrepreneurship sort of really comes in. So from your perspective, how critical or key is entrepreneuring along with entrepreneuring, for organizations? And I'm not sure if you have examples from within your organization or observations.
So what we have done is, you know, we've had a suggestions committee. So basically, anybody within the group can make a suggestion on how they feel that we can do things better, right? And when you have a large workforce, why not sort of crowdsource those ideas? But what happened was, initially we would get a lot of ideas, and then you'd get the idea, you may say good idea, bad idea, and then it would just stop at that. So what we told people is that we had a reward and recognition system for those people who gave suggestions and actually became part of the implementation process and actually saw it through the end. Because an idea is dime a dozen, right? It's the implementation that is the hard part in any business.
Yes.
And I might have 100 ideas, but unless I act on something and I implement even one of them, how do I show success? So once we did that, the number of suggestions that we started getting drastically dropped. But the good part is the quality of suggestions started improving. And like, for instance, we had one of our project heads, not a head, I would say like a general manager of a certain project, given a lot of suggestions on how we could optimize our costs. Like, for instance, if we had 3 different types of doors in a certain apartment, he said, okay, this is the cost savings you'll do if all the doors are the same size. This is if we had 4 or 5 different windows, like obviously in any house you might have different sizes of windows, but he said if you make these windows the same or try to basically get economies of scale, what is the kind of savings you'd get? So there were a lot of initiatives on also how do we prevent, say, leakages within buildings, what are the improvements in desnagging. So basically, how do you ensure that an apartment has as few snags or issues, like maybe a scrape or a chip tile, before you hand over to the customer. So a lot of interesting initiatives. So what we do is we keep getting innovative suggestions from our staff. We reward and recognize them if they are able to implement and actively show either cost saving or a time saving. That means enhancement in productivity or an increase in revenue. So these are the 3 main buckets under which we reward people. And I think the most important part, like, how do you drive innovation? If innovation is key to who you are, how do you drive innovation with every single person in the organization? And as much as you talk about it, people will respond when it's part of their KRAs, right? When it's part of your performance appraisal. So what we did is we made innovation as one aspect of everybody's key ability areas, and it is something that is discussed at the performance appraisal time. And I think that's very important, just to get more focus on that and say, hey, this is important to us. If you have 10 KRAs, innovation is one of them. What are you doing to ensure that you are bringing innovation, new ideas, new processes, or better processes into the company? Because unless everybody works towards it, it's very hard for any real improvement to happen. Everything cannot always be top down. So it has to be grassroots led to some level as well.
Excellent. And I think you brought in some very key elements in terms of linking ideas to strategic priorities,
Yes.
working with recognition to keep people inspired and motivated. And I think it's all about quality and rather than quantity.
Yes.
And linking it to KRAs, I think that's a very key one, because for a lot of people, it's always about what's in it for me. And
Yes.
until it's not linked to your goal, it's something that's good to do. And do I want to extend myself? Or do I want to contribute, then becomes an option. And I think linking it to goals makes it that much more measurable.
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with what's in it for me, right? I mean, why not?
Absolutely. And having a process to measure that and recognize the contribution then makes it that much more of an individual driver. Thank you so much. This is a short bite, and really look forward to engaging with you. Thank you for your time today, and have a great day.
Thanks, Puja. We'll be in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.